Hey Vikings Nation, I need you locked in right now because this is one of those moments that hits different. We're talking about a true legend, a cornerstone of the Minnesota Vikings defense, a name that echoes through generations. Today's news isn't just an update. It's a moment of reflection, respect, and legacy. Joey Browner, one of the greatest safeties to ever wear purple, has passed away at the age of 65. And if you've been a fan of the Minnesota Vikings long enough, you already know, this isn't just another former player. This is one of the pillars of Vikings history. So stay with me because we're going to break down his journey, his impact, and why his legacy will never be forgotten in Vikings history. And I want to hear from you too. Where do you rank Joey Browner among the all-time greats? From the very beginning, Joey Browner wasn't just another draft pick. He was history in the making. Back in 1983, the Minnesota Vikings selected him with the 19th overall pick in the NFL draft. And here's something that makes it even more special. He was the first defensive back ever taken by the Vikings in the first round. That alone tells you the level of expectation placed on him. But what makes legends different is how they respond to pressure, and Browner didn't just meet expectations. He exceeded them in ways that reshaped the defense for years. Coming out of USC, Browner already had the tools, size, speed, and instincts. But what made him elite was how he combined all of that into a fearless, intelligent, game-changing presence on the field. Standing at 6'2" and weighing 221 pounds, Browner was built differently for a safety. He had the size to hit like a linebacker and the speed to cover like a corner. That rare combination made him one of the most dangerous defensive players in the league during his era. When you watch old footage or hear stories from those who saw him play, one thing is clear: quarterbacks had to think twice before throwing anywhere near him. He wasn't just defending passes, he was controlling space. And that's something Vikings fans love. Defenders who bring attitude, intelligence, and dominance. Browner embodied all of that every single game. Over 9 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings, from 1983 to 1991, Browner built a resume that speaks for itself. He recorded 37 interceptions, which still ranks among the top in franchise history. But it wasn't just about picks. He also forced 18 fumbles, showing his ability to not only stop plays but completely flip the momentum of games. That's the kind of impact that doesn't always show up fully on stat sheets. In 138 games, Browner became the heartbeat of the defense. A leader, a tone setter, the kind of player every team wishes they had anchoring the secondary. Now let's talk about dominance at the highest level, the Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors. Browner earned 6 consecutive Pro Bowl selections starting in 1985. Think about that consistency for a second. Year after year, he proved he was among the best in the league. Not just good, elite. And in the NFL, sustaining that level of performance is one of the hardest things to do. On top of that, he was named first-team All-Pro 3 times, in 1987, 1988, and 1990. That's not just recognition. That's validation of greatness. One of the most memorable seasons of his career came in 1987. Even though it was a strike-shortened season, Browner helped lead the Vikings on a deep playoff run. That year, Minnesota fought its way all the way to the NFC Championship game. The energy, the belief, the grit, it was all there. And Browner was right in the middle of it, leading that defense. They ultimately fell short against Washington, who went on to win the Super Bowl. But that run remains one of the most unforgettable moments in Vikings history. Greatness like Browner's doesn't go unnoticed forever. In 2013, the Minnesota Vikings made sure of that by inducting him into the team's Ring of Honor. That moment wasn't just symbolic. It was a permanent stamp on his legacy. A reminder to every fan who walks into the stadium that Joey Browner helped define what Vikings football is all about. Moments like that connect generations of fans. Whether you watched him live or learned about him later, his name carries weight. Former teammates and players have always spoken highly of Browner, and one quote stands out. Scott Studwell once said that Browner was the kind of player who could transcend generations. Think about that. A player from the 80s and early 90s who could step onto the field today and still dominate. That's rare. That's special. It speaks to his intelligence, his physical ability, and his understanding of the game, things that never go out of style in football. And here's something that adds even more depth to his story. Joey Browner came from a true football family. This wasn't just one standout athlete. This was a household built around the game. His older brother, Ross Browner, had a successful NFL career, primarily with Cincinnati. Another brother, Jim Browner, also played as a defensive back in the league. And it didn't stop there. His younger brother Keith and even his nephew Keith Browner Jr. continued the football legacy. That's generational greatness. When you look at everything together, the stats, the accolades, the impact, it becomes clear that Joey Browner wasn't just a great Viking. He was one of the best safeties of his era. He changed games. He influenced teammates. He gave fans moments they'll never forget. That's what separates good players from legends. And for the Minnesota Vikings, he will always be remembered as one of the defining figures of the franchise's defensive identity. Even after leaving Minnesota, Browner finished his career with Tampa Bay in 1992. But let's be real, his legacy is forever tied to the Vikings. That's where he made his name. That's where he built his legend. That's where he became a symbol of excellence and toughness. Some players move around, but some become part of a team's DNA. Browner is absolutely one of those players. This kind of news hits hard, especially for longtime fans. It reminds us that the players we grew up watching aren't just athletes. They're part of our lives, our memories, our identity as fans. Joey Browner gave everything to the game. And in return, he earned the respect and admiration of generations of Vikings fans. Moments like this bring the community together. It's about remembering, honoring, and celebrating what he meant to all of us. And I want to ask you something, Vikings Nation. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the name Joey Browner? Is it the big hits, the interceptions, the leadership, or just that feeling of confidence knowing he was back there protecting the defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's celebrate his legacy together. In today's NFL, we talk a lot about versatility in defensive backs. Players who can cover, tackle, and read the game at a high level. Joey Browner was doing all of that decades ago. He was ahead of his time, a prototype for what modern safeties are expected to be. That's another reason his legacy continues to grow even years after he stepped off the field. The Minnesota Vikings have had many great players over the years, but only a select few leave a mark that lasts forever. Browner is one of those names. When people talk about the greatest defenders in franchise history, his name always comes up, and for good reason. He earned that respect through hard work, consistency, and elite performance. It's also important to recognize the era he played in. The NFL of the 80s and early 90s was physical, intense, and unforgiving, and Browner thrived in that environment. He didn't just survive it, he dominated it. That says everything you need to know about his toughness and mentality. As we process this news, it's not just about looking back. It's about appreciating what players like Browner built for the franchise. They set the standard. They created the culture. They gave future generations something to live up to. And that legacy continues every time the Vikings take the field. For younger fans who may not have seen him play, this is the perfect moment to go back and learn about Joey Browner. Watch the highlights. Read the stories. Understand why he meant so much to this team and this fanbase. Because legends like him deserve to be remembered by every generation. This is more than just Noticias dos Minnesota Vikings news. This is a reminder of the history and heart behind this franchise. The Minnesota Vikings are built on players like Joey Browner. Players who gave everything and left nothing behind. And that's why his name will never fade. As we wrap this up, let's take a moment to honor a true Viking legend. Joey Browner's impact goes far beyond numbers and awards. He represented everything this team stands for: toughness, pride, and excellence. Rest in peace to a legend who will forever be part of Vikings history. If you felt this tribute, make sure to hit that like button, because this is how we keep these legends alive. Drop your favorite memory or message for Joey Browner in the comments. I'll be reading them all. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Minnesota Vikings news, updates, and stories that keep our passion alive. Skol, Vikings Nation!